So, the next story is a story of a conversation with a dear friend who I've murdered before. It went interestingly. Excuse me, I'm not feeling very well all of a sudden. It went interestingly, certainly. Yeah, let me set the scene. So we're sitting in the cabin, sheltering from the cold for a little bit. We're sitting in the cabin, and we hear a knock on the friend. Door opens, and it's Adeline. And she says, "Shaman, can I talk to you?" And I wave her in to sit down. There's a chair across from me, and she sits down in the chair across from me. The two werewolves are here, and the space is getting a little cramped. It's a little tight with 5 people in there. The two werewolves are there, and so is Aeryn and myself. And Amon is sitting like right next to me on the floor. And I'm sitting on like a stool. There's an empty space, like a slightly empty space across the room, then a chair, then Adeline, and Drake is next to Amon, and Aeryn is on the other side of the room. And so she sits down and she says, I was hoping we could have a private conversation. I said, anything you have to say to me can be said in front of all of these people. There is no secret I haven't told them. And she goes, oh, all right. Now, she's been in a room with me and all my allies before. It didn't end well for her. See previous story times on YouTube if you don't, you know, if you don't, if you don't know about that. We've murdered her before. Not this group of companions, but a group of companions. And she's been getting a little bit disrespectful, you know, talking to me a little bit too familiarly, and I'm not about that. I'm about respect. So I'm sitting on the stool, and she continues, and she says, I want to know why you killed me. And I look surprised, because how could she possibly know? But she obviously does, because she's asking me. And I say, what makes you think I killed you? And she says some stuff about remembering some skill usage or whatever skills that she had. Stuff that I'm not particularly a fan of in terms of as an explanation for remembering something, but that's aside. That's my own problem. I'll talk about that after. But she knows. And so I say, all right, fine. You want me to tell you why I killed you? It's very simple. You had very valuable blood. At the time, your blood was corrupt. This purple stuff that the demons found valuable. And a valuable commodity needs to be traded. So, we killed you. We took your blood. We traded it to a demon. I got things I needed from it. Do we have a problem? And she's sitting there in the chair going like, I didn't expect, you know, like I can imagine she didn't expect me to admit it. But also, what's she gonna do about it here in this room? Like, nothing. There's nothing she can do. All she can do is sit and listen. But Aeryn is getting fucking riled up, right? Because she's being a little disrespectful about this whole thing. And I'm having to sort of like, Aeryn, stop, you know, so that Adeline can talk. And I say, I don't think that you are taking me seriously enough these days. Understand that I am a person who demands that things go a certain way. And when they don't, it irritates me. And it irritates those close to me, as you can see. Like, gesturing to Aeryn. So, I think you need a little fear in you. And I cast horror at her. I I summon a hex to inflict horror, and I threw a packet at her, and she called resist. She went, resist psionics. Which you can do because it's mind affecting. Like, it totally works. It's a mind affecting spell. She resists psionics. And my immediate first thought was, oh, I'm going to kill you. You know, like, you could have just been scared, and that could have been the end of it, but you just resisted the spell, and now my first instinct is that I should just kill you because I just talked to you about being disrespectful, and you know what? Resisting my spell is fucking disrespectful. You could have just been scared. You could have just been scared of me. But I withheld that urge because I wasn't sure that our werewolf friends would allow me to murder her. And so I withheld that urge. I very deeply in my heart. But Colrin was so mad. I could tell he was so mad. He like stood up from where he was sitting and like walked over to behind Adeline, and she's like looking up behind her, like trying to keep an eye on Colrin because he has a garrote wire, you know, like he could just fucking choke her to death if he wanted to. And I'm trying to make sure that he doesn't, and the conversation continues. Look at you, having feelings and not killing people? Who are you? I know, right? Barbara Boyle. And then I do something that I never thought I would do. And it was just impulse. It was literally just this weird impulse that I had. And then so Iman is sitting next to me. This person with whom I have grown very close over the last day or so, and who I have been, you know, in physical contact with a fair amount, but she's in werewolf form, so she's got like this wolf pelt over her, you know, to represent it, and Drake's next to Iman. And instead of throwing a shatter skull and killing Adeline for the second time, what I do is I reach down to where Iman is sitting, and I, like, pet her. I fucking pet this werewolf. And I'm thinking to myself, my out-of-character brain is going like, no, don't do it. It's really bad. But, like, I couldn't stop myself. I couldn't stop myself doing it. It was just this perfect moment of, like, I have a werewolf next to me, and I'm being intimidating. Let's pet it. Just fucking pet the civil werewolf, and instead of moving away or biting me or fucking whatever, she leaned into it. She leaned into it. I just finished casting horror, and like witchcraft was like hot in the air, so to speak, like metaphorically, and the Weaver of Civil. Oh, we're both so fucked up. We're both so fucked up. And so I that lasted only a moment, because then I came to my senses and I took my hand away and looked over at Adeline and I said, "Now you know. I killed you. And if your blood were valuable, if I thought I could get something out of it, I would do it again. Now that I've answered your burning question, how else can I help you?" I'm like sitting here, like waiting for her to say something, basically. You know, and she doesn't really have anything to follow up with. She came in here basically to accuse me of killing her and insult me by doing so. It was a bad idea overall. Like, it was a bad idea. Hey, Blue Jay. And chaotic corn dogs. Hello. But yeah, what else can I do for you? And she sort of hesitated for a bit. I don't really remember what she said, but she, she left. And our night passed. Oh no, that wasn't the end of it. Oh no, that happened before. Oh my god, I missed a whole story that's like the best story from the game. Okay, well, it's not chronologically correct, but I'm gonna tell this story next. This was just before the Adeline meeting. So there had been there's a mod type going out, which is like an NPC type going out that's called the aspect of fear, and the aspect of fear preys upon your darkest, deepest fear. And how it works is there's one NPC holding like a red spotlight, and they would shine the spotlight on the person whose fear it was going to be, and then the fear would manifest, basically, and that was the way that it worked. And so we'd seen someone who was afraid of dragons hiding under a bench because, like, he imagined there were dragons, like, flying around above him. We'd seen someone who was scared of having, like, losing their mind, and, like, they were having some kind of crazy vision, We'd seen someone slowly be aged into their death, basically, as an illusion. We'd seen a couple of these, like, different fears happen. We'd seen an army of soldiers appear to fight a war that someone didn't want to happen. Like, there was a whole bunch of cool stuff going on. And we'd all given in our fears at the beginning. And so the spotlight fell on Aeryn while we were outside. And an NPC Wes leaned over and whispered in my ear, "He's disobeyed you. He should be punished." And I'm like, okay, so I'm the fear. I'm the fear. Aeryn's fear is me. Like, my violence and my authority is his fear. And so I immediately jumped into, like, "You've done wrong, Aeryn. You've done wrong by me." And like jumped into, like, authoritative Aeryn mode and like pushed him across the field, basically, like backing him up as he, like, terrifiedly backs away before I can do anything. And I threw, like, a spell at him to hurt him and so forth, and I'm just waiting for the NPC to tell me to stop, basically, as I intimidate him into the ground. And while I'm doing this, Drake gets in my motherfucking way. I can't stop because I'm compelled by, some kind of dominating fear force to be scary. And Drake gets in my way trying to defend Aeryn because they've, like, kind of bonded, and Aeryn wants to travel with Drake and Amon and so forth. There's, like, a bunch of stuff happening over there. So Drake is in my way in between this like victim I have to terrorize and myself, and I'm like, oh, I really don't want this to turn into a fight because I'm being compulsed, but I can't stop, so forth, that kind of stuff. But it all turned out okay. Like, the thing ended, and I had to basically say, like, Aeryn, I was under compulsion. Like, you haven't done anything wrong, and figure that out. But now we'd seen that the spotlight could be shone on us. We thought maybe because we're visitors. Yeah, blind Aeryn fumbling in the darkness, trying to get away. Sadler is Aeryn, by the way, for those of you in chat. Right there. But, so it ended, and I realized that, like, the spotlight could be shone on us. We thought because we were visitors that we probably wouldn't get that kind of attention, right? Like, our characters were visitors to this place. Like, it's a thing. But later, when we were in the cabin, the door pushes open, and the spotlight, click, turns on and shines directly at me through the door. And Iman, who's, like, lying down on the ground, tries to, like, close the door with her foot, basically, and pushes it closed. And and the door immediately is pushed back open. And I'm sitting there with this spotlight on me, and I call out, "Who's there?" And this voice from outside goes, "Pathetic girl. Did you really think I wouldn't find out?" And stepping into the cabin is the wonderful Tammy, person who I often roleplay with, and who is a fantastic role player and one of the owners of Underworld Zenith Strand, with Jen Vespin makeup on her face, playing my mother, playing Aeryn's mother, the scariest fucking thing that I can possibly imagine. Like, the absolute worst thing that Aeryn can possibly think of. Yes, Aeryn's mother, Hamara, who is, like, the Ursula of the Jen Vespin, basically. Of the Wasp tribe, she is the Ursula. You know, lives in the edge of the woods, helps the poor unfortunate souls, and gets all kinds of horrible, evil things out of it. You know, that's her game. But she steps in and she says, "Pathetic girl. Did you think I wouldn't find out?" And she's holding a psionic blade in her hand, and my immediate reaction is just to fall to the floor. And, like, this is the woman who has tortured Aeryn her whole life, who has you know, visited terror upon her through her childhood into her adolescence and beyond. Like, the woman who in Aeryn's mind is a god, you know, like, is a creature of pure malice, and is to be respected, even if she does want to kill her. You know, like, there's no way I'm powerful enough now. And I prostrate myself on the ground like, "Mother, it's so good to see you. I've missed you so much in my travels, and I'm sorry if you heard anything about what I was planning to do. I didn't mean it. I just wanted to take the initiative." You know, like, just terrified Aeryn. Like, it's just absolutely counter to everything else she ever does. Like, she's just reduced to a child, you know, in front of her mother. And Hamara looks around the room, and there's Colrin, and there's Amon, there's Drake. And Amon is, like, glaring at her. And they make this kind of, like, eye contact that happens, and they're like, staring at each other. And then Hamara just goes, "Spell strike, race change, toad," and turns Amon into a toad. Just toad. And then Colrin starts to shift, and she turns, "Spell strike, race change, toad," over there. And then like, dispels the blade because Drake is, like, way in the back. And she says, "Come with me, Aeryn." And I'm like, "Yes, okay, of course." And I'm like, putting my boots on. And, like, you know, tying them and like, getting ready to head out. And as we're leaving, she throws a packet up towards Drake, who's, like, glaring down at her. Like, "I summon a hex to shatter your skull." Packet. Bam! Hits Drake. And Drake quietly goes, like, "Death ward," and, like, falls over, so that he doesn't get killed. Though I think he would have regenerated it anyway. I don't know. But so we head outside, and the spotlight is shining on me as we're moving, and Hamara's moving ahead of me, and I'm holding step behind her, and she's saying stuff like, "Did you really think you could plan against me, you worthless girl? You're not... You're worse than useless. You're nothing. You are a tool." You know, and I'm like, "Then why did you come back for me? If I'm not worth anything, why spend your time coming here, mother?" And she goes, "Because you're my property." You know, and Tammy is, like, so good at this, by the way. Like, it was A+, like, fucking the best. And we make it out into, like, the middle of the field, and there's a bunch of other people who have seen the spotlight now, and they're calling out, saying, like, "Shaman," and I can hear somebody's footsteps coming up behind me. I'm like, "Stay back!" You know, put my hand up, and like, my head is down, and my posture is totally different than I would usually be with Aeryn. Like, she's very sort of, like, you know, while she has a little bit of a hunch to her, she's like very imperious. There's like presence, and the presence is all gone right now. She's like very low. And we get to like the middle of the field, and she stops and turns and looks at me and says, "On second thought, you should just lay down and die." I'm like, "Mother, I don't want to. I can't." She goes, "Do it, Aeryn. Do as I say." Oh my God. Yes, Mother, of course. And like I kneel on one knee, and I'm expecting her to sort of like, you know, kill me or use a spell to drop me or something while I'm kneeling there. And then the spotlight goes out. And she disappears. And I am left scared and alone in the middle of a field. Kneeling like a worthless piece of garbage. It was a fucking great mod. Oh my God. Oh my God, it was so good. It was pretty great. Mommies are just the best. Yeah, Aeryn's mom is like a source of fucking all kinds of misery. I'm hoping one day to have a storyline that allows me to kill her. But we'll see. So I'm left kneeling there in this field, and some people come running up. I can hear their bootsteps, like, you know, they've seen a thing happening, and they see me kneeling, and they don't know what's going on. They're running towards me, and I can hear people calling, Adeline calling out, like, "Shaman?" And me just kind of, like, rousing myself and standing up and trying to regain my composure a little bit, because I can't let all these other nobodies see me like this, sort of thing. Like, I have to regain my badassitude. And so I sort of dust myself off and stand up, and I go, it's nothing. Just the aspect of fear, just a nightmare. You know, and then walk back to the cabin. The funniest thing is that, you know, Iman is still a toad when we get back, and so is Colrin. They're still toads, because they're toads for 10 minutes. It's a 10-minute spell. Drake has gotten down and is like putting his boots on when I arrive, because he was going to come after me in case something bad was going to happen. But I come back and we sit and we talk a little, and Drake picks up the toad that is Iman. Like, she's polymorphed into a toad, like, because of witchcraft. And like pets it a little bit. And Iman, who's out of game, goes like, "The toad looks really uncomfortable." It's just like perfect. The toad looks really uncomfortable. Drake puts the toad like on the table. And we wait out their transformation so that like they can be part of our conversation going forward. Yeah. Ugh. It was a hella scary thing. And like it's really validating to have that kind of mod happen, because I have said and talked and spoken about this character so much in various places. I have referenced her in so much RP. I have talked about Aeryn's mother, and in fact, the conversation that me and Iman had privately just before that was about you know, Aeryn's mother and the suffering that she wrought on Aeryn, and how that changed her perspective on everything, you know? And so it was like super validating to like have that nightmare happen after that conversation, and it really shifted Iman and Aeryn like just that little bit more close enough that like, well, I'll get to it, but like close enough that like it really shifted our relationship. Because I had declared a hunt on my mother, and I told Iman about it, and she wanted to help, and now she'd seen what that looks like, so forth. Yeah. It was really cool. It's just nice to have written something and then to have it mean something. Like, to have backstory that means something. That plot cares about your backstory, at least a little bit. Even if it's just in a nightmare. To answer the question about toads and polymorph and stuff, the only witchcraft polymorph is toad, but there is a polymorph spell in the nature sphere that could be anything. Like anything small and helpless. Yeah. And it is up to the caster to provide toads. I haven't found any accurate phys reps yet, because we looked for some plastic toads, but I couldn't find any. So people just, like, roleplay it. You know. Oh, it was cool. It was really cool. That was, like, people were asking me what my highlight for the event was, and I always said that mod. Like, being able to show scared, weak Aeryn in the face of, like, a creature that to her is, like, more than fear, was really fun. Because it's just a side of her that doesn't come out very often. Which is hella cool. Sorry, I'm just, like, taking a moment to, like, I have feelings about all that, because, like, I care about my characters. I care about getting to act them and be them, and the development that happens with them, you know? And, it's nice. It's cool. So Sunday... Sunday, we went to kill Gerhardt Whitefire, the first mortal general of the cultists. We went to kill Gerhardt Whitefire, whose location we had learned. And we went through, like, a Fey portal to a fishing village on the other side of the island to kill Gerhardt. And when we arrived, he was surprised at our arrival. But holy fuck, he did something that I really want to do one day. The first thing that Gerhardt did when we showed up was went, "You fools don't even know what you're messing with," basically. And then said, "Ritual race change wyvern." And these two black leathery wings around him as he turned into a horrible wyvern to fight us. A 2-minute invulnerability while he changed, and all these demons came rushing out of a demon gate behind him and, like, fucking just throwing spells at us, and, like, there's this big fight, and it was super dramatic and awesome and cool, and then Wyvern Gerhardt got involved, and it was awesome. It was really cool. I want to turn into a wyvern one day. I want to be able to say ritual race change wyvern. It's a level 10 witchcraft ritual to do that. I want to be able to do it. I want to be able to be like, do the fucking Maleficent thing and turn into a dragon. You know, like, I want to be that witch. That would be awesome. And so, like, we got some real action stuff going on. And this whole time, it's, like, windy as fuck. Like, so windy. And I'm holding the banner of Sybil over one shoulder. So I've got this, like, flag waving past one shoulder. Got this flag waving past one shoulder. And then I have a psionic blade in my other hand. And I'm, like, buffed to the nines with, like, all kinds of buffs to make sure that I don't go down. And so I felt like I wish there were pictures, because I feel like I looked like a badass. I had this fucking cool-ass flag over my shoulder, psionic blade in my hand. Anybody who came near me, I was defending the banner with my psionic blade and spell strikes. Now, it's a level 10 ritual, Nordic Rest. I know because I have access to the ritual list. But yeah, I feel like I look like a badass with that flag waving behind me. And it's really weird because Aeryn has basically become this weird, like, semi-bannerman of Sybil, the goddess of the hunt, because I held it for Daegrin. I held Daegrin's banner during Warcry, like, up on the hill, like, making sure everybody could see it. And now I've been holding, Iman's banner all the time that it was available, like, the Saturday night and the Sunday. I'm holding this banner, and it's like, Aeryn, which banner person of Sybil, I guess? I mean, I did nasty things like put a contingency sleep on the banner, so if anybody did hit it, they'd fall asleep. Stuff like that, to try and defend it. Because it has health, so you can cast spells on it. And you gotta keep it safe. It was cool. It was cool. I felt like a badass in that fight, definitely. And I spent a lot of time trying to make sure that my people didn't go down. That's it. And then the event ended. Drake jumped through a portal to hell. He was the only one who went there. How that resolves, I don't know. But he's a super badass, powerful werewolf, so he's probably going to be okay. Yeah. Not Contingency Shatterskull? Well, Contingency Shatterskull is not a spell. Witchcraft gets Contingency Sleep because the idea of, like, a poisoned apple or something. So, like, say I cast Contingency Sleep on this Dr. Pepper, right? And I was like, Contingency Sleep. And I put the little tag on there or something. The first person to drink it falls asleep. You know? The idea of, like, the poisoned apple. So you say the thing that happens that causes the sleep. So you cast a Contingency Sleep on someone's weapon. The first person to strike it, So if somebody comes in and they parry with their sword, Contingency Sleep, That kind of thing. Or what have you. So, like, I cast them on the banner, and it's the first person to strike the banner, Contingency Sleep. Stuff like that. You can do, like, touch, or break, or strike. It's a great spell. It's super good for, like, random, strike back. I didn't get to use my eye for an eye this game, but usually that's good, because it means I didn't get attacked by huge warriors swinging massive damage. Because eye for an eye only works on physical effects. So, but the game ended after that, and it was a good time. Hella good time. Me and Amon had a bonus scene after the fact. We've made it kind of a game tradition where both of us are at a game to have a scene together after the game. Because, like, at the Masquerade, we sat and we spoke about witchcraft and stuff after the game, like, because I wanted to have that serious conversation with her. And then after this game, we also had, like, a little bonus scene that we did together, which was super, super fun and cool. And it basically went like this, we feelings dead each other. Like, it was one of those things where it was like, I feel strangely about you, I care about you, and I shouldn't, and it's curious to me that I have the capability of feeling like that. And Amon, likewise, sort of like, I don't really get it either, but here we are. And she gave me a gift. She gave me a gift. Because she knows she will never use it, but that I might, and that I might use it in the service of good. And she said, think of me carefully before you cast it. I was like, all right. It's another ritual scroll, my friends. No papers are this big in Underworld that aren't ritual scrolls. So, it is a level 6 psionics ritual called Shadow in the Mind. This ritual will cause the target to slowly lose their grip on reality. It begins as a very subtle distraction. The target is certain there's nothing wrong for the most part. They may see something in the corner of their vision that's not there. Perhaps they hear something the wrong way, or generally feel as if they're being targeted. Each month that passes, the symptoms get worse. Ritual marshals may decide what skills begin to be affected, and at what severity after 1 month. Poor RP should be met with severe skill loss, and great RP with less serious hindrances. In both cases, it should get worse over time and escalate to near uselessness from insanity and paranoid delusions. This condition must be identified before it can be removed by any means. I got the gift of a ritual scroll that turns people insane. From a Lightweaver of Sybil, who, you know, I have a very personal relationship with. But yeah, she gave me the Slenderman ritual, basically. Oh, what are the requirements? Oh, let me. Ofo wants to know about the requirements. Okay, well, we'll read that part, sure. If that's what you want, I'll tell you about the mechanical requirements. The primary must have a diamond, some fine sand, a mirror, and an image of the target. The primary caster must place an image of the target face up on the mirror, then place a diamond on top of the image. Each caster must then take a pinch of sand, and while sprinkling that sand over the diamond, whisper the target's name. When all the casters have taken a turn doing so, the diamond crumbles to dust. This dust and sand must be collected by the primary caster and mixed with ink, worth a minimum 1 scroll-making RM, for 2 minutes, while the secondary casters tap the primary caster on the shoulder, tug gently on the primary caster's clothes, or perform other distracting gestures and sounds. When the ink is complete, the primary caster must pick up the target's image, hold the mirror in front of them. The mirror must reflect the primary caster's face over the image's left shoulder. Any caster must then use the ink to draw the outline of the primary caster and their features on the mirror. Casters must whisper rumors or talk about dark figures and conspiracy during the mirror drawing. At the conclusion of the ritual, the mirror is dropped. For safety purposes, please do not break the mirror. That's what you have to do. It's very nice. It's very cool. Cool little ritual thing. Rituals get more and more complicated the higher level they are, so that being a level 6 one is like way more complicated than the level 1 nature one, for example. Other such things. Yeah, so she gave me that. At the conclusion of our intimacy, so to speak. And yeah, we did it. You know. We didn't actually, obviously. Basically, we were. It was really a sweet scene. We were sitting there with our hands in each other's hands, talking about things, and there's this moment where I was like, okay, face touch, and fade to black. You know, that's basically what we did. Because you know you don't do that shit at LARP. But you do get the emotional content, right? Holding someone's hand is nice and sweet and helps to make a feeling feel real. But you don't fucking kiss someone without their permission, for example. So yeah, we just fade to blacked it, obviously. Yeah, so Amon and Aeryn, pretty close! Was not my intention going into this game. Happened very organically. I was surprised. And of course, the first thing you do when you do this kind of thing is you make sure that you're describing what kind of things that the person may learn about you when they have you naked, you know? So I got to say, like, well, when we do it, you very obviously can tell that Aeryn's body is fucking mutilated as shit, you know? Like, she's got super deep scars, like, to the bone, almost everywhere, this, like, ripped up scar tissue, and horrible nastiness, like, all over her body, like, burn scars, knife scars, like, she's just been beat up, over her life, and, like, her leg is twisted and horrible. And Iman, like, you know, says some stuff about her situation. And the one thing she does say that really interested me, and I think will come back to us in the future, is she said, Iman allows Aeryn to scar her in some way. Iman allows Aeryn to scar her in some way. Explain to me what she does. You know? And I went, well, she makes a mark down near your hip on the bone with a very sharp, straight knife of 3 lines sideways and 3 down, just like the Jen Vespin shaman markings. What she doesn't know is that is my ritual hex mark. That is the mark I use to do rituals. That is the mark I put on hex bags and various other enchantable items that, as a witch, I can do. And I didn't tell her that. No, not like across, Ben. Like 3 across and then 3 down under it. So, did I tell the player? Of course. Like, me and Siobhan talked about it, but that's what I did. Put a hex mark on her. Whether I'll ever use it, who knows? But it's there. It's a scar in her flesh of my hex mark. Even after all the intimacy, Aeryn, she's just not a good person. Are there beneficial hexes? Oh yeah, lots and lots. This is not one of those things that's just like, it is purely for bad reasons. Like, I care about her. This makes it very easy for me to enchant her. You know, whether it be beneficially or not. And she said to me, Amon lets Aeryn scar her. And so I did. Well, hell of a lot of stories today. Just lots of things to talk about. It's the bad girl Aeryn allure. All the people want to redeem her. Yeah. What I think now is